Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International. It's now time for our first topic of discussion for today. And in this regard, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has affirmed that despite the coronavirus pandemic on the entire international community, especially the African countries, those challenges have prompted the African leaders to strengthen joint cooperation with a view to harnessing energies and finding effective and innovative solutions that help overcome the current difficult circumstances. And to shed more light on this topic, we're most delighted to be joined here in the studio by engineer Hussein Al-Ghazawi, an energy and economic expert. Very good morning, engineer, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Kareem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. Sir, first of all, how do you evaluate the Egyptian-African relations?
I think Egypt, we have a history with having a relation with Africa, but definitely since His Excellency President Sisi came, he had the determination and the focus on improving and enhancing this relation. I think what Egypt did under the leadership of President Sisi when he leads the African Union, it's definitely remarkable. Africa is very important for Egypt, and Egypt is very important for Africa. It's mutual benefit relation. I think Egypt, we have to be the gate of Africa. The time where we didn't give the focus we should have on Africa, we lost basically some ground there, but I think we are coming back in the last 6 years. We're coming back very strong. There is a lot of things happening, and we definitely, throughout the discussion today, will be sharing light on this.
Yes, Engineer Hussein, what is the importance of developing cooperation among African states in various fields, especially, of course, in the energy sector?
So let's give an example, and you mentioned energy. So when it comes to oil, Africa produces about 8,400,000 barrels of oil per day. That's about 8% of the global share. But when it comes to refinery products, diesel, petrol,
crude oil,
the refined one, not the crude oil, the refined products. Africa has a need of about 4.2 million barrels of refinery product per day, and is increasing with Africa is 1.3 billion people with 2.5% rate of increase. So we
huge
population, and this need will go up to 5 million barrels per day as our needs by 2023. But when we look at our refinery capacity, it's about 3.2. However, the efficiency of this refinery project is very poor. We're talking about 60% out of the 3.2, so we produce about refinery product of 2.4. So we have a significant gap between what we need and what we produce. And I would like to simplify it in number, because His Excellency President Sisi giving a lot of focus on the added value projects. Africa is rich of the raw material, and unfortunately we are not making use of this raw material as we supposed to. And I will use the oil as an example. If we take the oil barrels, it's about $40 average now. If you have it as a refinery product, fuel, gasoline, it's about 260. So it's 6 times more than the crude. So Africa is exporting the crude oil with $40, and we are importing the refinery product $260. Egypt have done a fantastic job when it comes to the refinery, and His Excellency President Sisi in September, when he opened the new project of Egypt Refinery Company, where it's a clear example of demonstrating this added value project. You take the low value product and the crude using the hydrocracker technology, which is the latest technology. You transfer it to high octane gasoline, refinery product. So this sort of the example Egypt is doing in the refinery, and actually Egypt is sharing and expanding this type of of project where you use the raw material through technology and you have a final product. Also, this project is a clear example of the private sector cooperation with the government. All the investment, it's coming from outside, Japan, Korea, European Union, the Gulf state. We talk about $4.4 billion of investment. It will save Egypt between 600 to $1 billion from a refinery product we used to import.
Engineer Ghazaoui, how does the world now look to Egypt in terms of energy?
I think Egypt have done a very good job in the last few years when it comes to positioning ourselves as an energy hub for the East Mediterranean and North Africa, of course. All the gas discovery, Zohr and in the Mediterranean, have put Egypt in and it's not only the discovery. We have a very strong infrastructure, the liquefied natural gas plant in Damietta and Idku. We have the biggest gas network and grid in Africa. We have Summit pipeline taking oil from Sokhna to Sidi Kri, Mediterranean. We have the port, we have the Suez Canal. So Egypt have all of course, the geographical position. And I really admire the vision of putting Egypt as an energy hub for the North Africa and the Mediterranean. And definitely, we're talking not only to Africa. Egypt have signed this agreement with Cyprus to take the gas and the oil from Aphrodite to our plant in Damietta and Idku and re-export it again. And that's where it comes value added. His Excellency is talking about utilizing all this infrastructure, utilizing the knowledge we have developed, utilizing the new discovery, whether it's gas or oil discovery, and our geographical position in promoting Egypt as an energy hub. The East Mediterranean Forum, which became an organization also a few months ago with the headquarters in Egypt. His Excellency was in Greece talking about the gas potential and the oil and gas potential in the East Mediterranean. So definitely everybody look up to us when it comes to being an energy hub of East Mediterranean.
Yes, allow me, Engineer, to pick on what you just said as Egypt as an energy hub. For Egypt prospects to becoming a regional gas hub. So how can Egypt expand its natural gas production to meet the demands for exportation to Africa and elsewhere?
Okay, so we became self-sufficient again as far as the gas production in September 2018. We started even exported again since this time. Egypt, actually, when it comes to the gas discovery, in the last 8 years, Africa have had a very successful discoveries, presenting 40% of the global new gas discovery came from Africa. That's where Egypt and North Africa. East Africa in Mozambique, they have had a fantastic discovery. Senegal and Mauritania in the west. So as far as Egypt is concerned, of what we have done with all recent discovery and all the infrastructure, for us, we have a tremendous opportunity to work with the newly discovered gas prospect in the East Mozambique, West Senegal and Mauritania. We enjoy a very good relation with this country where we can transfer our knowledge. There is a lot of Egyptian company have done all this new project, Zohr and North Alexandria field, and all this company with their experience can help basically the rest of Africa in transferring knowledge rather than relying on other basically technology sources. Yes.
Engineer, what do you think is the role of the political leadership to develop the potentials of Egypt in the field of gas and oil?
I think what His Excellency the President have done when it comes to the economic reform, it's very important. Nobody will come to invest if they are not sure that they will get a good return of
On investment.
on the investment. So I think the economic reform Egypt have had in the last 6 years, the trust, we regain the trust of the investor to come. You see His Excellency is meeting with all the international companies in different domain, different sector, not only the oil and gas, where you have the opportunity to get the assurance from the leadership, where you have the opportunity that any issues will be overcome, that give you trust. Egypt also have jumped in the transparency index for investment. You need to have easy to do business. You need to have a transparency environment. We have done in these two index, we have progressed significantly, not to the level we want, but it's coming. So
We're on the right track.
we are on the right track in improvement in the infrastructure, the roads. It's a system. It's an ecosystem. It's not only one thing you need to do. It's various things all to do. And as you, Karim, you said it quite right. We are on the right track.
Yes, indeed. Moving on to economy, Engineer. What do you think is the importance of the Africa Free Trade Zone for the continent, its people, and the economy?
I think that one of the fantastic outcome during Egypt heading the African Union, and I think having all this 54, 56 African country having this free trade agreement will do a lot for Africa. Africa, we present now 17% of the total world population, and it is growing. When it comes to energy, when it comes to, actually the median age in Africa, it's about 19.5 years, and that's young population. There is a lot of potential, and I think this free trade agreement, once it's completed and once it's in effect, will mean a lot for enhancing the trade with Africa. Egypt is focused on Africa. Our export number with Africa is shy. We're talking about $2.8 billion a year. That's not good enough. Definitely, the trade, the export and the trade between the African country should increase, because, in my opinion, Africa is the future of this world, and definitely being in this position in Egypt, we have the excellent chance to enhance it.
As an expert, sir, what do you project for Egypt in the upcoming years, having a wider role in Africa?
We having a good role in Africa. I think if you count the state visit done by the president to Africa, I think it stands the most. Our involvement in transferring our experience. We exporting electricity to Sudan. The plan is to have 300 megawatts. The infrastructure, it's an issue in Africa, not only in Sudan in general. Currently, between Egypt and Sudan, we only export 80 megawatts because of the infrastructure, but working on that to enhance it to the 300. We sent to Libya 250 megawatt of electricity, Jordan another 250, and we're working with Saudi, but that's to Asia, about 3,000 megawatt. So with what we have done with the electricity, and then that's, if you allow me, that's another success story. 2014, Egypt electricity capacity, it was 23 gigawatt. Now we're standing at 55 gigawatt. We have increased it almost 28 gigawatt. We more
achievement.
And it's and not only by just adding new station. Definitely we added new station, but diversification the energy source. Bimban, when it comes to the solar energy, all this
It's
wind.
one of a kind.
It's one of the kind. Won the World Bank Prize in 2019. Again, another example of encouraging private companies. It's all done by private company. 32 stations with a total 1.5 gigawatts electricity capacity. All private company. The wind farm, Dab'a, when it comes to nuclear. So Egypt not only increasing our electricity capacity, but diversification of this energy capacity. There is a lot of countries in Africa. I read article last month. Egypt, Morocco, South Africa are leading when it comes to renewable energy, and that's something where we can play a wider role in with the rest of the African countries.
All these achievements make us proud, Engineer.
Definitely.
How does the Petroleum Ministry's plan generate new leadership in the oil industry in the future, in your opinion?
I think the Petroleum and Mineral Resources Ministry done an excellent job in the last few years with the modernization. There is a heavy training program for the mid-management, the young engineer, and in oil and gas, it's a very sophisticated industry, and it's you cannot make mistake. So
very costly.
Very costly. So training is important, and training is not only in oil and gas. And I think what the leadership of this country is focusing on developing the human capital of Egypt. We should be proud that we are 100 million or 104 million. It's a wealth. It's an asset we have to benefit from. So training, definitely, I think the ministry is doing an outstanding job when it comes to that. And I saw also the Ministry of Human Resources, all this training center for the technician to develop also
highly skilled
technician. Egypt has been exporting human resources to the Gulf area, and when it comes to the oil and gas, actually to the entire world. I'm talking about North America, I'm talking about Africa. There is a lot of highly regarded Egyptian engineer and technician working in various oil and gas facility all over the world.
Engineer, what are the challenges, in your opinion, that we currently face in this sector? And how can we overcome them, of course?
I think the volatility of the oil and gas business, it's definitely a challenge. After the COVID-19,
of course.
COVID-19, we were talking about $80, $100 per barrel. It's now standing at 40. It dropped even to negative at one stage.
During the lockdown,
because they didn't have any place to store, so you have to pay to get rid of what you have.
No one could have imagined that.
I think that's first time happened. So the volatility of the business, it's definitely a challenge. However, I strongly believe this industry is resilient, and it's managing the volatility up and down. It's not the first time, very well.
Engineer, your closing comments as we're wrapping up.
I think Egypt should promote more. We are the gate of Africa. We are African. We like African. I lived in my career 10 years in Africa, in Nigeria and West Africa. I enjoyed it, my time there. There is a lot of potential in Africa. Africa in needs of energy for the future sustainable development. Egypt have a very strong position to share our experience, to mutually benefit. It's not one-way traffic. Mutually benefit with the rest of African countries. So I am very optimistic with Africa future, and Egypt big part of this future.
Engineer Hussein Ghazawi, energy and economy expert, rather. Thank you so much for your insight, and thank you so much for being with us on The Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much, Karim. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And dear viewers, now we move on to a quick break, and then be back to resume The Breakfast Show live on Nile TV International.